I just want to share a little bit of my testimony. And of course, it has to do with gems and being a diamond. And it also has to do with my mother, since we are here at the mother-daughter banquet. I remember good things. I remember this one Christmas, our little thrush party, we were so poor. But she had all these lights plugged in, and I guess she was checking to see which ones in the string needed to replace the light bulbs. So I saw this opportunity as my stage. When I started performing, I started doing pirouettes and leaping all around. And lo and behold, crunch. Oops. I remember that vividly. I remember this pair of jeans she had too in the 70s. They were all stitched with all this rainbow stuff going on the leg. And of course, I must have been very high, so it was right at my And I remember her laugh and her smile and seeing her walk around in curls in her hair. And I remember the cars. I don't know why I remember her cars. She had this blue Beetle Bug. She had a brown Chrysler LeBaron and a little red Pinto. And obviously we did not explode because I'm still here. I remember too, I love this memory. I just have vivid memories of her eating Carvel ice cream. And she was so skinny. Like she was skinny, she would tear up the ice cream. I guess I did not get that genetic link. That was not happening for me, but I remember being a kid and eating ice cream with her. And then one day, over breakfast, I remember when it all turned. And I remember her hand connecting with my face. And I remember that moment more or less because prior to that time, I had never had any fight or flight reaction in any previous situation that I had been in from the people that she had let into our lives. So I always took it from everybody else, but there was something different about when she did it. And it was at that moment that I knew that I had to flight. And so I did to my best friend's house. And I remember vividly the hearing where she terminated her parental rights and I was adopted by my best friend's father. Painful moment because it felt like the ultimate rejection. I wasn't feeling like a gem. Even though my dad, who was adopting me, wanted me so badly. I didn't feel like a jewel. I didn't feel like a diamond. I was feeling like that cold, black, sooty, alone, cold. But God. Because see, all I ever wanted was for her to love me. And all I ever wanted her to do was sit up and be on my side and choose me. But you know, God says in His Word, though my mother and my father may forsake me, He will receive me. And He certainly did. And I'm here to tell you that God is a God of restoration and a God of provision. I want to read to you a scripture that changed my life, and I pray that it changes yours. The scripture is all about Jesus, and it's way back in Isaiah, and it says, "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of the spirit of despair, and put upon them a crown of praise instead of the spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting for the Lord, for the display of His splendor." And I knew that scripture was about Jesus because He had been doing all those things in my life for about a year and a half prior to my time receiving that scripture. Because I was brokenhearted, but Jesus came in and He freed me from many things. He freed me from the pain. the rejection. He freed me from anger. He freed me from feeling like coal. And he turned me into a diamond, not for my glory, but he turned me into a sparkling jewel to shine for him. And he also provided. God gave me another mother. In 2005, I worked with Miss Cordelia Johnson, who was back in the back of the room, and I would like to acknowledge. She was a co-worker at the time. She has no idea I'm going to say this. She was a co-worker at the time, and she began to plant seeds of God's truth and God's grace in my life. And it was like a garden. You know how that scripture says, the Spirit will water it, God will grow it. And God did. She loved me. She loved me even though I was in the pit of a black, burning hell. My life was a mess when she met me. A lot of a mess. But she planted the seeds, and God did the rest. She has become my mother. She started off as a spiritual mentor, but she is my mother in almost every way. She cooks, feeds me quite well again. And she's a great support, and I love her dearly. So, even though we have to go through some pain sometimes, and life might look very black and dim, and you might feel the pressure, and you might feel the heat, just know that God is able to turn it all around. And you may not be dealing with mother-daughter issues in your own life. It may be something else, but I think we all can relate to rejection, and we can all relate to having our feelings hurt sometimes. We can all relate to maybe not feeling good enough at other times. Like God. So I just want to end and encourage you with this song. God gave it to me around the same time that scripture was sent to me by email. Just a choir friend sent it along to me. And it's based on that song. It is called The Reason. Because once God started doing his thing in my life and I started to shine, like I really did start to shine. Like people were asking me, what's different? They'd be like trying to figure out, is it a new outfit? Did you do something with your hair? Did you get new glasses? Like there was visibly something different about me when God got a hold of me in my life and I surrendered. And my answer to the people was always, he's the reason. He is the reason. So I hope you're encouraged by this song. And I guess as I sing it, I would just want you to know that he is the reason and can be the reason in your life too. And he is the answer for every problem, for every circumstance. And he will give you the power to get through every season of life that you might go through.